Do you hear me?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for having me. Thanks everyone for being here. I'm really honored to be again with you. Really grateful for this webinar. Everyone who's on the other channels, please go on our Facebook or the Pyramid Times subscription channel. Thank you for being here, everyone. I'm hoping for this to be an interactive webinar, so ask questions. We're talking about the people who don't need to eat, people who are living without food, people who are not needing physical food. They can just survive on liquids or water or even just breath work. So I know this is a challenging topic for some of you. I want to know what you want to know about this. So feel free to ask questions as much as possible so that we make it interactive. Thank you, Vina, and Happy New Year, first of all, because it's the first time we're seeing each other for this year. How are you being?
It's awesome for all of us. I think we have met already for 2-3 times on the same platform. Maybe, yeah, end of the.
Yes, but we haven't spoken. I'm really grateful for this webinar today because I have so much to share. So many of you have seen already probably the first webinar we did with Tina about the Pranic World book. I'm seeing someone saying not clear. Why? What are you referring to when you say not clear? I want to clarify what's not clear, first of all. And we're going to be together for about 1 hour. So just at the beginning, I'm going to just present a little of my experience with people who are living on prana, chi, energy, nourishment. And then, of course, I'm going to take your questions. So really grateful for your questions, really grateful for getting me in the zone of knowing what you need to know. So as you probably heard, the first time I was hearing about this topic was when I read the autobiography of a yogi, and then I heard about someone really sharing webinars in Romania about it, in my country, right? So when I heard that someone was coming to Romania to talk about this topic, I was really, really interested in going and hearing about it, because for me, from the first time I've heard about it, it seemed true and doable and like a natural possibility. As a kid, I was telling everyone we are all energy, that everything is made of energy, that everything we are is energy. So to me, it seemed just really natural that someone is able to be nourished by energy. So when I heard about it, it seemed like, yeah, right. Something really, really doable. I was aware from my own experience that the more you do breath work and yoga and qigong, the more you feel less hungry. The more your hunger disappear. My experience is that I start my morning sometimes with some idea of having a smoothie or having the chai or tea. And then I do my yoga or I do my breath work or I do some meditation, and this need suddenly disappears, right? The hunger or the craving or the idea of having certain products as nourishment goes away, right? After my practice. I've noticed also in certain workshops. I was doing a workshop with one of my teachers in Thailand, and every morning we were practicing Qigong, right? Before I was going to the practice, I was thinking of taking breakfast, but when I was arriving and doing the practice, at the end of the practice, I wasn't feeling the need for breakfast. So my breakfast was skipped, my lunch was skipped, and so I noticed what when I have this practice of qigong or breath work or meditation or yoga, I don't need to eat after it. So my natural conclusion was that the more we practice, the less we need food, right? And then I saw many others, colleagues of mine, friends who are having this type of practice. I noticed them, not eating for days as we traveled together, as we worked together, as we were going to breakfast, lunch, dinner, they weren't eating. So this made me believe that, well, it is possible for me and it is possible for others. At this moment, I'm having many colleagues that I'm collaborating with that are being nourished in this way just by their daily practice. Someone in the audience is having their mic on and it's making sound, so please all unmute yourselves so that we aren't distracted. Um, yeah, so this was my experience at the beginning, you know, noticing myself and noticing others that the more we practice, the less we need food or drinks as nourishment. Along the years, I've also studied and researched to see why is this possible? How is this possible? How come some people really need 3 meals per day and others can just go with breath work and qigong and tai chi and all this stuff? You know, why some of us can do it and some are hungry all day long. And I've noticed that it's really about how pure our channels are, right? In your yogi tradition, we've all learned that there are energy channels all the way across the body. They are called nadis in Indian tradition, and they are called just acupuncture channels in Chinese tradition, right? But all the main traditions, the Tibetans, the Indian traditions, the Zen practitioners, and all the others, they know about this. Even now, quantum physics and modern medicine is discovering these channels, these ley lines of energy, if you will. And some practices are now entering the modern medicine, you know, about the energy channels. So these are like channels of energy going through the whole body. They fuel certain areas of your body, they fuel all the organs, they connect the organs, they connect the chakras. And the purer they are, you know, if they're uncluttered, if they're flowing harmoniously, then the energy can flow through them, right? And that's when the clearer your energy channels are, the more energy you can run through your body. Same with the chakras. You know, there are 7 main chakras and many other secondary chakras. And the more we evolve, the more we upgrade to other layers of other chakras, you know, to up to 13 chakras, up to 33 chakras. There's no end to it, right? And these chakras are just nodes of energy, if you will, or specific um, energy jointer points where certain organs are fueled, certain areas of your body are energized. And if the chakras are clear and energized, then you can encompass more energy. That's why the yoga practice or the qigong practice or the breath work is helping so much with this type of pranic nourishment because it's clearing and energizing the chakras. So this so far, I believe it's logical. Please type yes in the comments if it makes sense for you. Does anyone in the audience has noticed that after a meditation or after a specific exercise, you feel less hungry than before that exercise? Did you notice that ever in your practice? Because I know many of you are here are meditators. Or sometimes you feel nervous or you feel like binging on something, and if you take a bath or take care of yourself, um, then after that you don't feel hungry. Did you notice that? Yes, I'm seeing so many yeses. Everybody is raising hands and saying yes. So yes, it's for everyone, right? So many people in the audience that aren't even interested in practicing breatharianism or having focus on, you know, not eating anymore. You're all having this experience, right? Of the more we're practicing, the less hungry we feel. Well, imagine if certain people are practicing for many years. Like I'm practicing meditation since I was a kid, and I'm constantly practicing meditation since 10 years ago, since I was 28, 27. There are people who are practicing this for 40 years, right? And they are going deeper and deeper into detoxing their body, detoxing their energy channels, detoxing and harmonizing and enhancing their chakras. Imagine that these people aren't needing so much food anymore. Some aren't needing food at all. discover themselves all of a sudden not being hungry, right? They are noticing that, hold on, I'm not feeling any feeling of taking food through my mouth anymore. I'm even feeling discomfort or like lowering my vibration when I take solid food. Some say that, right? Why? Because their vibration is getting so high and their channels are getting so pure and their chakras are getting so aligned that the energy of the food is lower than the energy of their body, because it's eventually all about raising your vibration. It's all about going into a higher frequency. And when you go into a higher frequency, you're naturally and consequently feeling that you're that the energy in the universe, the universal energy or the ethereal energy or prana, is your nourishment. Okay, I'm seeing here that someone is complaining about the audio. I'm going to get a mic just in case some of you are not hearing well. First of all, I'm going to do something. I'm going to unplug and replug my camera and let me know, is the audio weird for everyone or just one is having issues with the audio? Please type yes in the comments.
Occasionally, not most of the time, it's fine.
Sometimes it's fine and sometimes it isn't, right?
Yes.
Okay. So many here are saying, oh, this is fine. I'm just going to unplug and replug just in case, right? Just to make sure. Okay, so we're waiting a few moments to reconnect the audio here. And let me know if it's all good now. Yes? How is it now?
Yes, it is fine.
It is fine. Okay, thank you for feedback. So I was saying that as a consequence of our practice, our channels and chakras are getting enhanced, our frequency is higher, and we no longer need physical food, or we need less and less physical food. That's why so many people now are going in a lighter diet naturally. After practicing meditation, after having a certain daily practice for several months or several years, you're naturally feeling to go a vegetarian or vegan or fasting, intermittent fasting for a while or on the basis. You're naturally going into that mode because you are in a higher vibration. So pranic nourishment and the people who, are needing food as nourishment is not because they refrain from eating. It's because they no longer need, they no longer hunger or crave for food. That's the reason, right? So somebody I was traveling with recently noticed that I made a soup. I made a soup and I just left it on the table, right? I made several portions of it, several servings of it, and I just left it there and I didn't eat. So the people around ate, but I didn't. And somebody noticed, well, it's good that you can abstain from it because it's so good, it tastes so good, but you can abstain from it, so you have a lot of self-control. I said, no, it's not about self-control. I'm not controlling myself not to eat it. I'm just not needing it right now, and I might not need it today at all. But I made it because I knew others would need it. So um, for me, I never abstain from food. But if I feel that my body is not needing food, and that's most of the time, I'm not eating. Right? It's no longer necessary for me to eat out of habit, out of emotional reasons, out of the need to cover up certain imbalances in my system. Because over the years, I've purified my system enough to be able to get over these aspects. And I know it feels really strange and like foreign notion to most of you, but it's only very rarely that I need to take very small quantities of physical food at this moment. It's no longer necessary for me to eat constantly, right? 3 meals in a day or even 1 meal in a day is not necessary for me. I do prefer liquid smoothies or juices, or my favorite blend now is this uh, orange with turmeric and pepper and ginger juice that I'm having shots of every day. So that's my best nourishment. And when I do take small amounts of physical food like almonds, cashew or cashew cheese, there's this vegan cheese in small bites. I feel a little heavier or I feel sleepier, and I usually use a little bit of physical food at evening if I can't sleep, right? I take a little physical food, a fistful of some nuts or something to be able to sleep during that night, because the less you eat, the less you need sleep, the less you need to rest your body. Actually, your body is getting very, very energized and really active and there's so much creativity flowing through. So how many of you have fasted here, and maybe you've noticed that during the not eating time you are becoming more energized and you are becoming more vivid and more active? I want to just hear if anybody has this experience. Any of you have fasted? Because I know some of you have been in the Navratri or Shivaratri and you did a lot of days. Somebody says fasted for 48 days. It felt very energized. Congrats. I would love to talk more about it with you. And maybe you can come to the Pranic Festival in India in March and we can talk about it. That's interesting. That's a long amount of time. So many people, right, when they're fasting the first days or the first time they're fasting, they're feeling maybe tired or they are having some um, detox symptoms, but after several fasting stages, they end up really being really energized during their fasting time, and they're actually more energized and creative and focused during their fasting time than during their eating time. So that's because your gut system is actually producing 400% more melatonin when you're fasting, more melatonin in the gut than in your brain. So you're getting all this melatonin, you're getting all this ATP as a result of the melatonin production, because melatonin is the one that's regulating the ATP. And ATP is the very energy that's nourishing your cells. So therefore, you're feeling energized and happy and pumped even when you're fasting after you've detoxed your body. So if you that's the thing that I'm referring to. You have to go through some stages because before you reach this state, you first purify your body, your nadis, energy channels, and chakras, and then as a consequence, the energy flows through you directly and uninhibited, and you feel really energized when you don't eat. And it's important that you tune into your body and notice that sometimes you feel really energized when you don't eat, and sometimes it's necessary for you to eat. Maybe your frequency has dropped, maybe you've had an emotional experience, maybe you got worried for something, maybe you had an issue or you got in a denser environment. That's when you really need to eat and not prolong your fasting because you're damaging your body. So really be in tune with your body and with your energy system when you're fasting. Hi, Valentine. Hi, Angelique. Hi, everybody. I'm going to soon show you a video of a person that has a yogi that has lived without needing to take physical food for 75 years. I met him in the Pranic Festival in India in Bangalore last year. He was one of my guests in that festival. He had traveled for 12 hours and 92 years old to be able to join us at the festival. And he allowed me to test his chakras and his nadi in the rooftop of the mount where the Amrita flows. he allowed me to test that and record it because he wanted to leave a legacy to humanity, because short after this, he left his body and he was knowing this, so he wanted to have this filmed and recorded. He also has been tested in hospitals for 10 days one time and for 14 days the second time, monitored with 35 specialists, and his energy levels and all the body symptoms were even better than normal, right? They were very, very good, because he was in that state for 70 years at that time. So I'm going to just play this video. You'll only be able to watch it on Zoom. So if everybody is agreeing, I'm going to just share screen now and go ahead and show you this beautiful friend, yogi of mine, that has wanted us to have that experience of seeing him and testing his system. His name is Pralajani. Those of you who can't see the video now, look at my YouTube channel and you find the video called 75 Years in No Food. Here it is.
You feel both heart.
He has two hearts, yes.
Yes.
I'm married. And I can't see.
See you.
Two hearts.
Two hearts. One of the Shiv and one of the Shakti.
This was the yogi that I was referring to. His name is Pralajani. His vibration was super, super high and beautiful emanation of love. Now I'm trying to stop sharing screen. There we are. Yeah, he was healing people just by people being in his presence. You know, so many of you are knowing that these saints and sages in your country have this ability, and saints and sages all over the world have this ability of being nourished without food and healing people through their presence. So I'm not sure why you couldn't see the video. I was hoping to be, I was intending to present it as a share screen. Can you go back to my image, please? Somebody who is playing with this. Thank you so much. In case you haven't seen it, I can share screen. Please approve the share screen. And I'm going to play it again. Yes, there you are.
You feel. Both heart.
He has two hearts, yes.
Yes.
I'm married. And I can't
See you.
Two hearts.
Two hearts. One of the Shiv and one of the Shakti.
So this was the video, And I hope now everybody could see it. Now it's working. Thank you so much for your feedback. I was hoping that now it's working because it's really so important to have this experience and to be able to actually see that such person exists. In my experience, I've met many people. I'm organizing Pranic festivals since 5 years ago. We've organized 5 editions of Pranic festivals in India and Romania. I'm participating in Pranic gatherings since 10 years ago. So gatherings where people who are nourished in this way are coming and presenting their work. So to me, it's all natural that I meet these people, that I stay with them, that I ask them about their life, that I learn about how they do it. And it's natural that I present their work to the world as well, because that's one of my roles in the world that now. And for me, it has been great to have the occasion to meet all these people, to learn from them, and to learn what my body was really doing. Because for so long, I felt to decrease my food intake and to lighten up my diet and to go detox my body so much, and to have all that time of fasting that I did during my early years in 2012, 2011, so on. And I wasn't knowing exactly what I was doing until I met all these people, and they literally explained to me how it works, and how they did it, and what were their experiences, their do's and don'ts, their challenges, and all this stuff. And to me, it's great that we have so many people in the world now, thousands and thousands of people that are open to discuss their journey, to discuss their experience, to be tested even. Some of them have been tested in hospitals like Pralajani, Michael Werner, Germain. So many have been tested and their results were really good in some cases. And so this helps us as humanity understand that there's an alternative to the 3 meals a day and three snacks in between that keeps us bound to the idea that we always have to have food around to be able to survive. Especially nowadays that we are having these challenging times, and so much of our system depends on resources and of having access to resources, and so many have been forced to stay in the house and so on. Especially now is necessary for us to know that we can be free from it, we can be autonomous, we can be in a different state, we can be in a better state, right, in a state of um, autonomy, and choose whether we eat 3 meals a day or not, choose whether we want to have meat-based products or not, choose whether we want to clutter our body all the time with solid food. That's my message. So when I talk about the people who are not eating, I'm not doing it for with the purpose of convincing everyone to stop eating. I think humanity is not yet ready for it, but I know all humanity is now ready to decrease our food intake. I know all humanity is ready now for vegetarianism and veganism. Our system has transitioned for most people from carbon to crystal. They are transitioning, and they're needing a better fuel, lighter food. And as a consequence, we need to look seriously at what we're eating and why, and decide if we want to keep cluttering our body and numb ourselves out with all this food that is really not necessary for us, and to use all these planetary resources, even, right, in order to cultivate, grow food, because land and huge areas of the planet could be utilized in different ways if we have this awareness that really we need less going through the mouth and into our stomach. And we all have access to the practices that we are referring to. We all have access to yoga, to qigong, to meditation. We can do breath work anywhere, all the time. It's not that you're having to have special moments for breakfast or for breath work. Sorry, you don't need special moments for breath work. You can do it all the time in your car and in your office and during your cooking. Even if you do breath work during your cooking, you'll notice that you might not need to eat the food you cooked out at the end of the day. So So take a look at that habit of yours of eating and see why do you really need to do all this eating all the time. Some people do this because they want to be with the family or friends. Some people do this because somebody else in the room started eating and they're not hungry but they want to join and be part of that gathering or community or gang. Some people just have a schedule, right? It's 8 a.m. I'm going to sit myself at a table. It's 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. I'm going to have lunch, but they don't think of it. They don't check with their bodies. They don't verify if there's really necessary for them to insert some fuel in their bodies with some food. You need to do this all the time and to always be aware if you really need it. And if you are aware and if you do your practice, you'll notice that you'll need less and less and less. And really, it's important even for economical reasons, right? There's a scientist friend of mine that I'm loving so much. His name is Nassim Amin. That he's quantum physicist and he's also proposed for Nobel Prize nowadays. Who 25 years ago became a breatharian or one that is nourished by prana just naturally, and he did that shift for economical reasons, right? He wanted to save some money. He didn't want to buy so much food. He was studying a lot of physics, so he was in high state of consciousness from learning a lot, and he was also doing a lot of time in nature, like hiking and climbing. And because all that combination of factors, uh, he noticed himself that, hold on, I'm not eating because I want to save some money and yet I'm not hungry. How is this possible? So that's how he literally stayed in that breatharian state for about 3 years. I can play a little video if you want for us to see him and to see his statement uh, about his breatharian journey, but also his explanation from a scientific perspective. What do you think? Would that be interesting for you? Can you type yes in the comments if you want to see this video?
Yes.
I'm voting with everyone here because, it's a free free webinar and we're all free to choose what we want to be subjected to. So I'm just suggesting that we can have several proof of people that aren't eating, people that are needing food, and we can then choose what to believe, right? So don't believe me, but I can show you some stuff that I've been subjected to or in contact with that might be useful for you as a starting point, and then you can do your own research into this field and notice if for you it makes sense. If you're on other channels, I'm just placing the video in the comments, and on Zoom we're having a share screen again. I think someone must approve it for to be able to work. I'm just starting it right now. Okay, just a sec. I must admit that I'm not a specialist in this stuff, but I'm doing my best to access it. Let's see. So yeah. In a second, we're playing this video.
Screen is not shared.
Yes, so we're sharing it now.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's there.
Is it visible?
Loading? Yes.
Yes, I'm playing it right away.
With what's typically called breatharianism. So we can think of it as accessing direct from the vacuum, as you've just been describing, that abundant field. This is from Laura, who's saying, I'm curious how the vacuum theory explains the mechanism of
The volume is not coming. You can share the volume as well, Cristiana. There will be share volume option in the bottom of the views. Or I can share it, free energy. Still it's not audible.
And so
Can you hear me now?
basically,
Yes.
he was a vegetarian until his death a few months ago. I think he had started being a vegetarian when he was 18. He died at 95. And he was put in isolation chamber for many weeks, you know, and studied and, you know, AKG, everything, every day, continuous testing and, you know, including, they have ultrasound scans of his bladder filling up with fluids and reabsorbing in the body and filling up with fluids and reabsorb because he stopped drinking too, and you know, and so, and then they recorded, you know, humidity in the room and everything, like they just, you know, sanitized the whole thing. Anyway, so these things, which I've experienced myself, you know, are the result of being able to access energy at a different scale than the scale of the material world. And, you know, we know that energy is there, right? For instance, the electromagnetic field, whatever, you know, like you can think of many things. But I don't think that it's something, there's Christiana. I don't think that it's actually something that is unnatural, meaning that when you consider how much a human eats and then consider the energy it takes to digest the food, right? Let's just say, basically, the human is like an over unity machine, right? There's a part of it that you can't quite account for. You know, you have like mitochondria that are like little motors that are spinning at like 7,000 RPM, and you get like millions of them, right? And they're like ripping out electrons and, you know, making ATP, and like just sitting here doing nothing all day, you're gonna burn approximately your body weight in ATP, you know, which is non-trivial. You know, that's a lot of little electrons, and you know, then you're gonna, if you run a marathon, you're gonna recycle something like a ton of ATP during that run, right? So, and you probably didn't get that from your breakfast that morning, right? Just didn't, you know. And so basically, you can already say that we're living off this prana that the sadhu described, right? But you're mixing it with like taking the prana that's encapsulated, like I was saying earlier, in the structure of space, and the prana that's available, that the free energy that's available. There's actually a term in physics, either than an over-unity motor or a new over-unity device, that's called free energy. It's part of like, you know, the way you calculate thermodynamics or, you know, systems. And that, it's not like coming out of nowhere in this case, but basically what I'm saying is that there is energy that, so you're like an electromagnetic radiator, right, in the field because you're actually fairly hot.
So you see, there's explanation even from scientific perspective. Those of you who want to see Nassim Harmin's video about it, I'm just going to place it, see if I can place it here as well in the chat box. You have a full playlist. Of scientific facts about breatharianism and pranic nourishment that I just placed in the chat box. It's also on Facebook. And if you go on my YouTube, in case you lose the link, go on my YouTube and look for breatharian science playlist. That's how it's called. And you find there many discussions of me and various scientists, especially with Nassim Harmin, that are, you know, referring to how people are able to be nourished by energy instead of food, you know, or in addition to food, you know, non-solid energy. This is the name of the playlist on my YouTube. So those of you watching on other channels, you can find that on my YouTube. This is also in the Facebook. It is placed, so you can look it up and learn how this is possible from scientific perspective. Also on my website, soulhealingacademy.com, you find a lot of articles about the scientific aspect of pranic nourishment. And I'm going to also take the book and show it to you for those of you who haven't been in the previous workshop. So this is the Pranic World book.
Video.
Yes. This is the Pranic World book, the book that has been written in 2018. I've been guided to write it for people to be able to learn about pranic nourishment, about people that are nourished by light, chi, or prana, and about how they did it. And like I said, there's so many ways, there's so many possibilities, and this book describes all these ways that I met so far. And it also describes the science of it. So what's happening in the pineal gland, what's happening in the gut system, what's happening with the hunger hormones, you know, the leptin and ghrelin, what's happened with the ATP and the melatonin production, what's happening during fasting, all this stuff, you know, it's described in the book from my own experience, but mostly also from the experience of the people that I've met. And there are many, many resources that I've, you know, created during the years to help people understand about it. You know, apart from the pranic festivals where you can actually meet these people face to face, like last year in India, we had this sadhu for 75 years, no food. but there's people for 6 years, for 10 years, for 30 years, not using solid food, and you can, meet them face to face, ask them questions, join them like family. They're really open and sharing the so it's a beautiful experience to be in such a festival, because we're actually meeting all together like a family every year, either in India or in Romania, and we're having these wonderful talks, these beautiful conferences, and the sharing after it, the dancing, the bonding. It's so beautiful. And there's also online experience of it. So we've created this summit online that I'm placing the link now in the comments, where I've interviewed more than 35 people or 40 people in the scientific world, and also in the pranic world, the breatharian world, that are explaining their experience and how this is possible and what's happened to them and how they see it from scientific perspective. So this summit is ongoing. I'm just inviting Greg Braden to join us, and Nassim has joined us, and Jasmine, and so many others, doctors and scientists and masters, that have had this beautiful openness with us to talk and explain and share their experience, and some of them have been tested and so on. So the point of this work of mine is to show humanity that we are able to exist in a different way, basically, that we have unlimited abilities and capacities, and that we have access to infinite resources and infinite richness, if you want, infinite abundance. Once we are aware that energy can nourish us, there's no longer the fear of death, or the fear of hunger, which is one of the main human fears. And from there, you feel ever abundant. You can go anywhere and not depend on external resources, right? I mean, yes, you still depend a little bit on having a flight, if you don't want to walk all the way from Romania to India, in my case, or having, fuel for the car until they make free energy cars or stuff like this. But your dependence on external resources diminishes, and your freedom is increased. Actually, my book is a book about freedom. This one, it's part of a three edition series. This one is being free from hunger, and then I'm going to write the one about being free from fear. After this fear wave on the planet is ending, I'm going to just write about it. No wonder that we're having this experience as a humanity. And then I'm going to write one about being free from concepts. All the ideas that bind us and keep us stuck in a certain paradigm, in a certain way of being, in a certain functioning pattern that, it might be deconstructed at any time if you are wanting to be free. So this is why I keep sharing about this experience, because we need to be free, we need to be boundless, we need to be ever abundant, because we are made in the creation of the Creator, in the image of the Creator, right? We are universal force, we are universal energy, we are one with the one that is breathing us all. Why would we ever be feeling poor or feeling bound by matter, and saints and sages all over the world have proven it by, either not needing physical food, or dematerializing, or duplicating their bodies, or reducing their bodies to a small child's size, in the moment of their death, like they do in the Tibetan tradition when they attain the rainbow body, or just disappearing with the whole body, leaving just the nails and the hair behind. This type of things that is recorded and reported in scientific communities, and also in spiritual communities all over the world, is showing us that there's different levels to human existence. There's higher possibilities for us. There's not, but it's all about how we share or how we spend time, and how our lifestyle is. That's all it is about. Netflix or binging on soap operas or quarreling with the girlfriend, boyfriend all time is not going to bring us in a heightened state of consciousness. It's not going to help us evolve much as human beings. The spiritual practice is essential to be able to, one, keep our balance, especially in this troubled time, keep focus, especially in complicated relationships, and evolve ourselves past or above and beyond the normal human condition, right? Which is, to me, really, really boring, right? Who here is bored of being limited? I want to hear your yeses, if there are any. Who here is bored or of feeling limited? I see Marius here raising his hand. Can we bring him on camera? Maybe we can have a talk a little bit. I want to take some direct questions.
Who is it?
Marius, no, there's a raised hand, if you can notice it. Somebody has raised their hand. Marius something.
Marius, you want to speak?
If he wants to be online, I'm ready to talk to him or answer his questions. If he wants to unmute and put his video on. From now on, we just take questions. I would love to just take questions.
Yes, Marius, you can go ahead.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Can we also see you?
Hi. Yeah, I'm trying to get a video to show.
For that, I have to promote to panelist. Just a second. Yeah. You can switch on video now.
Okay.
Yes. Anytime.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I wasn't really prepared to be online like this. I'm just getting some color therapy for my shoulder.
Oh, great. Sometimes life catches us unprepared, and yet we were prepared. You see? Oh, but that's great. Now I'm seeing what you're doing. Oh, that looks great.
yeah, I'm just lying down. Yeah.
There's a color therapy device that is doing stuff on you.
Yeah, it's helping me to unstiff some muscles in my shoulder.
I would love to have that type of stuff. So you've been 48 days on fasting, right?
Yes, that's correct.
What did you want to say when you raised your hand?
I wanted actually basically to support the last thing you said. But we can talk a little bit about fasting, because that's really interesting. The one thing I was curious about was because I was losing weight a lot while I fasted, and how can we kind of program our subconscious mind to like not lose that much weight, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's great how you put it, right? Because very few people think that the subconscious mind might be programmed for that. But it's really interesting that you really can see things this way. It's actually the key, one of the keys to not losing weight and to actually perceiving prana as nourishment. But there's several other things that need to be done, for us to stop losing weight and we can actually gain weight. I'm sharing about this a lot during my Pranic Process Online. There's a class of 8 days, or 8 webinars in this case, where we meet every evening around 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. And we share all these methods and techniques and the pranic meditation each evening, and where we clear our channels, we align to the pranic flow, we do all this practice, And we're starting now on January 22nd, if you want. Anybody can join this. I'm going to place the link in the comments for the Pranic Process Online so that you can check out that event and subscribe to it, where we share how the body can be educated but also purified, you know, to be able to perceive prana as nourishment and adjust its own body weight, right? At the beginning, we all lose weight. I lost about 8 kilos around 2012, 2013, when I did my first detox stages and fasting stages. I was in a dark room for 10 days with just juices, no light, and meditation somewhere in Thailand, you know, and after these 10 days, I couldn't eat at all for about another 40 days. So in that time, even though I was feeling very good and my body clearly didn't want any physical food at all whatsoever, I couldn't even taste water in some days because of my vibration was very, very high and my system was calibrating. I still lost weight at that time. Why? Because my energy channels weren't so, you know, highly energized. They weren't really decluttered, and my body needed a lot of detox still. So I was just at the beginning of my detox process. I was doing detox for 2 years already since 2011, but it wasn't enough, and I was losing weight. Also, my mind wasn't knowing that prana is not, or wasn't fully accepting, so to speak, that prana is nourishment. So it still believed, and my body still believed, that we need physical food in order to feel nourished and maintain our weight. Even though my body was feeling great, my mind was somewhat resisting to that situation. You know, it wasn't fully accepting it. So it took a while, you know, some years even, for me to educate, really educate my mind and reprogram my cells. Two important things: educate the mind, reprogram the cells, and detox, further detox my body in order to perceive prana as nourishment. So there are certain formulas, if you will, or you could call them affirmation or programming, that we're using to really educate or educate is the word, to educate the cells that they can be nourished by energy and not necessarily by solid food. So there's a body programming and there's a mind programming that we need to do. And also there's necessary for us to do the research to really like educate at the mind level and know how this is possible. For me, it was necessary for understand even at the mind level how and why this is possible. And this is why I did so much research and I talked to so many scientists and I did all these interviews and videos and stuff. I was actually educating myself in the process, you know, and the whole humanity who wants to watch as a result, because my mind needed to understand and accept fully that yes, there's ATP, there's melatonin who regulates the ATP. The more we increase the melatonin level, the more the ATP level increases, so we have free energy in the body. Melatonin also regulates the hunger hormones, you know, the leptin and ghrelin, and therefore you no longer feel hungry during the fasting time or the pranic nourishment time. And that's how it's possible, you know, and there's several other explanations that scientists and geneticists have provided for me and various books and articles that helped my mind to accept and make that switch to deprogram itself from the condition that without food you will die and without solid food you can only live to a certain amount of days. Everybody says that. And understand that no, without food you can actually live on prana, you can live on etherical energy, you can live on or on a higher energy that makes up all matter, and all matter is made by this solidified energy that is in everything. And once you tap into it, like Nassim Armin was saying, you no longer need the solid stuff to take it and digest it and process it and consume energy to have this outcome of feeling nourished. So this is how along the years I've trained myself. For you, it might be something different, but for me, having a strong mind at that time, you know, I needed to educate that one first. and also detox and reprogram my body. But as I said, we share much more about it during the Pranic process. 1 or 2 hours every day. We meet every evening for 8 days. We're having lots of fun with a beautiful group. Usually there's super high, beautiful people. And we meditate together and really experience pranic nourishment every evening and explain and reprogram how this is possible.
Okay. Thank you. Just one more question. Is sunlight a necessity for like staying on prana energy, or can you do this without enough sunlight? Because I live far north and we have very dark times there half of the year.
Hence the light devices, right? Where do you live?
In Norway.
Yeah, good,
Yeah.
good. Because I have people from Norway that are on prana actually, and hence my answer: no, it's not necessarily. There's people living in Russia in areas that are mostly cold and not sunny. There's people living all over the world. We have to understand that this energy is within us, not outside of us. That's the key, right? There's various ways of tapping into it. Sun gazing is one of the ways. It's true. Sun gazing is highly recommended, but sun gazing, like all the other methods, is a method of purification and heightening the vibration. It's not the very nourishment. So not the sun is the nourishment. The sun is the energy that can fuel certain channels, heal certain things, tame and clear the mind. It's doing a lot of stuff. It's very good. I love sun. I sun gaze every day, but it's not the nourishment. So it's, we have this energy inside ourselves. In my tradition, in our country, there's a very ancient tradition of sages. Not many people know about it on the globe because Romania is not so well known in terms of spiritual practices and so on. Compared to India, we don't have so much of a tradition around the world. But there was a saint here, or they were calling him a god. A person who has stayed in a cave for 3 years. Everybody has thought it was the country leader at that time. Everybody has thought he had died in the cave because he went in a retreat and never got out of there those 3 years. But after 3 years, he went out. He was having some really beautiful superpowers or abilities. He was very different, I mean, much more upgraded in consciousness. So that's why the whole population at that time here, they were convinced he became a god, right? That's pretty much what Jesus has done with the resurrection, or Buddha with his meditations, all this stuff of transcending the human nature and going into the superhuman or upgraded features of the human body. However, after he went out of this cave, Zalmoxis, who is his name, the saint, has taken 10 disciples. He was taking about 10 disciples in the mountains, and he was teaching them about how to access prana, how to access energy, right? As nourishment, as healing power, and as energy to recalibrate entire areas, like villages were being healed and harmonized in this way, or the country was being kept in high vibration just by the practice of these stages. He was helping them to tap into the original energy of or the universal energy. And the first initiation was to master the elements and be nourished and energized with the earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then the higher energies, including sun, light. Then he was teaching them how to energize their mental energy and so on. And the last initiation, the most powerful for the most advanced of them, not all of them would reach that level, was to lock them in a cave, completely isolated from the outside world, completely in the dark, completely, he was creating like an energy shield, if you want, where they couldn't access the elements, they couldn't tune into the energy of earth, water, fire, and all they learned before. And the only possibility for them to be alive was to tap into this inner energy, this inner cosmos, and be nourished from there. Otherwise, they would die, you know. That was the highest ultimate initiation. After they would realize how they can tap into that energy, of course, and stay alive and stay in good condition, they were allowed to get out of the cave, and they were considered like masters, or the way they called them here was, yeah, somewhat like a master healer. You know, they were allowed to, you know, they were fully trusted to then go to the villages and help people and so on. That was the ultimate initiation. So as you see, sunlight energy is not necessary.
Exactly.
That was an extended answer, but just to know how ancient traditions were functioning. And I think India has the same initiation. I know the Kogi tradition. The Kogi tradition has the same initiation. You know, the Kogis, which are masters in harmonizing the fields, the same as in our culture. They sometimes stay for 30 years in a cave, from the childhood until their 30-year anniversary. The most advanced ones, they are raised in a dark cave alone in meditations, and then they are allowed to get out in the world with all their senses super enhanced, and you know, they're allowed to go to the cities or go in the forests and help the forest and the environment, and they are masters in field harmonizing. So many traditions have the initiation of this knowledge, and it's possible for all who are interested in doing the work, right? So thank you so much, Marius. Marius is actually a Romanian name. I'm
Oh.
surprised that you have it, because no one in the world, I mean, people who aren't Romanian, I haven't met this name in the world except for our country. So maybe you have Romanian origins of some sort. Because normally I don't tell the story all the time of this Romanian sage, you know.
All right. Thank you, Alas, for the answers. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Have
you.
a nice one, whatever you're doing there. Let's see, Alexandru, he wanted to, Alexandru is surely Romanian. So go ahead, question.
I'm curious. Thank you for the wonderful story you told us about Zamolxe.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated to hear the correlation, because I actually thought about it myself past
Yes.
2 months ago when I first read Legile Belagine, the
Yes.
actual document he put out when he came out of the cave and instituted the first cultural civilization that was part of the Thracian Empire, an empire that was
Yes.
basically owned and ruled and very wealthy based on merchants, not on warriors. We never conquered.
Yes.
Thank you for the story. But what I wanted to ask you is part of this tradition, actually. What do you know about the importance of water as an alchemical element transmuting the energy of life towards the body aspect, as you mentioned earlier?
Yes.
So
Awesome.
I know, to finish the question, with a small addition, the cave you mentioned earlier for a priest, for a high priest to get in the final initiation, was actually always near a creek, a falling creek. So that's why I'm asking you this question: why, how, and why is water important to this process? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. It's an awesome question that I was getting to, but the fact that you've asked it is even better. Water is crucial. We're 90% or more than 90% water at a molecular level. I know cellular level is 70, 80%, but at molecular level is more than 90%. Which means we're basically water creatures. We're made of it. And there's an important documentary that Nassim Amin and other scientists are always mentioning, about a Nobel Prize winner, Professor Montagnac, who has discovered that it's actually water that constructs the DNA or shapes the DNA, right? So that's the importance of water. The DNA is the very code of creation, right? The very base of creation in our system. It's the main core program, if you will. I'll get to you in a second. I'm just downloading information. Just hold on. It's crucial, and access to clean water, drinking clear water, especially during pranic processes or this journey of uplifting our frequency, is essential. Water is transporting information at a very high level, so really important to have awareness of what we talk and emanate around water, our water in our house or the waters in our planet. If you're near a water, pay attention to your thoughts, because everything you think, the water is gonna be imprinted with. The documentary I'm referring to is actually called The Memory of Water. So water has memory, water has consciousness, water has the ability or feature of changing molecular structure according to what we emanate, what energy there is around it. Thank you. Yeah, Luc Montagnier is the. Thank you so much. Luc Montagnier is the professor that has discovered the stuff. And thank you, Jacob, for placing it in the comments. So you have the documentary in the comments. It is essential having, thoughts of love, imprinting the water on the planet with beautiful thoughts and beautiful energy. Like I always emanate golden energy or rainbow energy or pink love energy instantly without even thinking it when I'm around water. And the water is always as well nourishing and cleansing my field. So that's my experience. And to add to this, please never drink tap water, because really it's like poison to your system. Wherever you drink it, tap water is not made for drinking. It's charged with so much information, so much residues, so much residual energy from wherever it travels, especially in buildings, that you don't want to inform your system with that information. What I do when I travel and at home as well, even though I do have the option to install a water filter, I prefer to do something even easier. I have this water drops that I have from a pranic lady, a lady who is on prana since 2003. She is sending me these pranic drops. I call them pranic drops. It's called water for life. And I drop 5 drops in a liter of water, or in a jar. When I buy a jar of water, I put these water drops who are restructuring the molecular structure of water. It's transforming it into pranic water, into its original perfect molecular structure. And that's nourishing me and cleansing my systems and healing my body. Has been, I've been able to transition to a much lighter liquid diet since 2 years ago, since I'm drinking this. And plus, I can travel to any country and have water from anywhere. Of course, I buy it. I don't drink it from the ponds or anything. But with this, it really purifies and upgrades to a very high level the structure of water, and plus the texture of it is amazing. It's really, really good. It's called Water for Life. Whoever wants it, just email me and I'm gonna mail to you, because I have some bottles left from the Pranic Festival. I always have this in Pranic festivals to give to people, because water is essential for life. Water is life. My email is in the chat box, and email me if you want some of this, because it's really, really good stuff. And I just get it from somewhere in Russia. Normally, I get a larger package because all my friends want it. And if I have a few bottles left, I just deliver some to the people who ask for it. I'm seeing another question asking the homes with copper tubing are better than normal ones. Copper, yes, I think water can be purified by copper and by holding it in copper vessels. I have friends who prefer to drink water from copper vessels generally. However, our systems are very different as humans. We come from different star systems. Even this is far-fetched to some. It's really not so much because you must imagine that you not only live in this body, in this planet, you know, you come from all over the universe, and our systems are so different. So I prefer to say that to some copper is really good as energy, because everything is energy to me. So that's why I say the energy of copper to some is really good, and to some it can be a bit excessive. So for me, I wear a copper bracelet from time to time, but I can't wear it all day long and I can't wear it all the time. So I would personally not drink water all the time from a copper vessel, because from me specifically, it sometimes can be too much copper energy. So I only want a bit and not all the time. That's my answer for copper. What's the role of mitochondria and living without food? Is distilled water? I don't know about distilled water because I still think so many people still need the minerals and stuff that water has, and I don't truly believe that water that is distilled can be good for everyone. But I must research more about it before I give a clear, good science-based answer. I personally don't drink distilled water. I want to answer the question of the one who is asking, what is the role of mitochondria in living without food? I have a video with a geneticist from the Resonance Science Foundation, whom I have just spoken to about pranic nourishment in one of our gatherings. We gather one time each month, and they have this free this live interaction where I most of the times participate. I prefer to play that video as an answer for you, just because his answer is so well documented and so how to say, so much more accurate than I could than I could provide, right? So I prefer to let the specialists talk in this situation, if you all agree. So is everybody okay with that? To play just another video for a little bit? I'm not gonna be so much longer, but I still want to, I was thinking to offer this, and now that you've asked, it's even more important for me to do it. Yes. So let me share this. His name is William Brown. He's Nassim Harmeem's colleague. He's
receiving
specialist at the Resonance, geneticist at the Resonance Science Foundation. Very, very advanced in his research.
The necessary energy, vitality from other than food, and in some cases even water. Which is quite fascinating when you think about the implications of that relative to the science here that is in theory. Is that anything that you have considered researching?
Oh yeah. Because actually, Nassim has a very particular interest in breatharianism. Because when he was living in the van and doing his advanced physics research, kind of formulating the first unified solutions to physics. During that time period, he wasn't eating food. You know, he went
like
like
5 years.
yeah. And you know, I've seen pictures of him from that time, and he was very skinny. You know, so I mean, I do not doubt at all when he says. I don't think he's exaggerating at all when he says he wasn't eating food. You know, so it just, you know, for him, he knows that this is a real phenomenon. You know, he lived like that. That you can draw energy from the space memory network. You know, from, you know, if you're thinking of it from the Eastern philosophical tradition, you know, from the pranic field, and so. You know, it's a particular research interest of ours because, okay, what is happening physically when that's being done? You know, so i.e., what is the scientific explanation for this process? And actually, we think we have identified what's happening and where it's happening in the body, you know, at the physical level. Physical energetic level, and it involves the mitochondria. So when you're looking at the anatomy of the mitochondria, so the mitochondria are a subcellular organelle within every cell of the body, and the number of different things the mitochondria do, it's a long list. It's best known perhaps though as the energy producing organelle of the cell. So, you know, it's generating the adenosine triphosphate, ATP, which carries these high energy electronic bonds. Now, at the site of the production of that ATP molecule, there's some very interesting physics going on. So you have this nanomachine, the Atp Synthase, which is, you know, this huge macromolecular machine assembly. It's embedded in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. So the mitochondria have a double membrane structure. And the inner membrane is folded just like the sulci and gyri of the cortex of the brain. I don't think that's coincidental either, because in addition to being one of the energy producers of the cell, the mitochondria does function as the brain to a large extent. It coordinates myriad cell signaling cascades, you know, orchestrating cellular behavior. And actually, some of the highest concentration of mitochondria in your body occur at the synapse of the neuron. I know I was just amazed one time looking at electron micrographs of brain sections where you can see the synapse of a neuron and it's just packed full of mitochondria. And I just remember thinking, I don't think that's coincidental, you know, but it's just this like wonderful fractal structure because, you know, if you look at that brain section, it's a sulci and gyri, highly folded membrane type structure of the brain, and you go inside at the molecular level, macromolecular level, and it's this highly folded inner membrane structure of the mitochondria. But so in that inner membrane, there's the ATP synthase. Now, yeah, so some of the very interesting, let's say, physics occurring there is that ATP synthase is spinning. It's spinning extremely fast. It's actually been clocked at about 8,500 revolutions per minute. Now, for comparison, a jet engine spins at about 10,000 RPM. So it's almost as fast as a turbine on the jet engine. Now, immediately that's pretty interesting to us because of the role that spin plays in physics processes. and so you have that spin, and what it's doing is it's pumping a proton plasma across the membrane. So now you've got these two elements that are coming together that are very interesting to us. You have a spinning plasma. Now one of the devices that Nassim is building, for instance, to couple to the vacuum structure, pull energy from it, or even to modulate the geometry of the vacuum structure of space, is a spinning plasma.
So I know that for some, this is super scientific facts, and not all of us are trained. I wasn't, for sure, back in the days where I wasn't researching this. Not every one of us is trained to encompass such information. Not all of us are interested in such scientific information. But for the ones who asked about mitochondria, I believe this is the best explanation that I got so far about mitochondria. And Nassim has also some videos of it, but I'm not going to search for them now. Just to say that the ATP is the one that is nourishing our cells, and the ATP is produced as we generate more melatonin, and the melatonin is produced when we meditate. So meditate, meditate, meditate. That's the key to pranic nourishment, being nourished by prana. Still your mind, because the mind is the highest energy consuming engine in our system. So the more we spend time in the alpha theta state, the more we are nourished. That's why meditation is so efficient on a or pranic path. And most people that are on this path have been noticed to spend most of their day, I write about this in the book, have been noticed or measured to spend most of their day in the alpha theta state, mostly the theta state. So basically, it's like they hypnotize themselves into the daytime all day long. And even as I speak, my mind is completely kind of blank, and everything just flows. It's a flow of information. It's a download of information. That's why when you stop me, I can't really remember or go on with my phrase, because it's not really coming from the mind. So that's the state of most pranic people. The more advanced, the less they're using their mind during the day. Is that no mind state that we're talking about in all Asian traditions, and that's what helps us to actually preserve and encompass more energy. Let's see if somebody is talking about, funny you mentioned this, I own the Ark. I own the Ark too. As you see, these guys are my friends. This is the Ark the crystal that I received last year, in 2019. I had a conference at the Resonance Science Foundation, which is Nassim Haramein's academy, and in California. And at the end of the conference, one of their collaborators gifted me with this crystal, which is harmonizing and energizing the energy field. I just wear it occasionally now, but I love to have it around, especially when interacting with computers like this. So in case you need that, I can connect you with the guys at the Resonance Science, and I have a discount for my friends, so we can work like that. So thanks for bringing that up, Alexander.
If I can have a moment of your time, I think I can add something very valuable to you as an information to the group. We actually went through, you said that the information presented on mitochondria is very technical and very scientific. It's actually, it's actually very, very simple to understand. A guy living in the woods called Victor Schroberger, a man that lived as a woodcutter for the whole of his life. You can Google him. In fact, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. This guy looked at water and how water flew within a creek. And when he was 48 or something, he went down in Berlin and taught the guys at the university how to build water dams and water flows without affecting the rivers. This is the guy who invented resonance in water by first spinning it in vortexes. This is simple technology we can use to actually point to the subject of this conversation, to use prana in our bodies most effectively without any loss of energy by thought or by abusing the body. We are actually living in times that are most extraordinary because we can use technology nowadays. The yogis had to go through this ordeal of taming the body and the karmic processes in order to access enlightenment. We can do it via technology today.
I want to just add or even correct this for a bit.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
still pledging here for autonomy. I'm not going to start polemics because it's not my style and my aim for today. But we are still to be autonomous. Technology, however advanced and beautiful it is, and I use it, as you see, I'm talking to you via computer,
Yes.
can always fail you. And sometimes when you're alone in the woods by yourself and with no Wi-Fi and no reception signal, as I've been these past 2 weeks at the beginning of the year, sometimes technology, you know, is not something you need to use. But to have the autonomy of controlling or mastering your own energy, having the inner technology function perfectly, and extracting free energy out of the vacuum system, the universe, or universal structure, however you want to call it, that's mastery. So I don't pledge for people and I don't invite people specifically, just because I'm now in this webinar as a facilitator, to use crutches in their lives until they learn to walk very, very well. They should do it themselves. Take the patience, the diligence, and sometimes the even struggle, if you will, to get there on their own 2 feet, walk perfectly, even dance, and then they can use whatever they want. For example, now I just purchased, I'm just receiving a nice frequency healing or frequency adjusting device called Healy. I'm going to present it at some point to you, where you just push a button and it regulates certain frequencies when you feel super tired, or you feel or for chronic pains, or for illnesses of various types. It is used in the medical system as well. It is used in yes, the healing machine. It is used in clinics outside our country and so on. So I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna utilize it from time to time. The same way I'm from time to time utilizing the arc crystal here that I received, right? But I know how to walk. If you leave me by myself in a forest or in a non-worm, house that isn't worm, how I spent some time a week ago, I'm gonna be okay without the technology. I know how to regulate my system. Either way, as I learn to walk, and I do it quite well now, and through hours and hours of daily practice, the same way the sages did, the same way the yogis did, I'm still having at least 4 hours of daily practice, or 5 or 6 or 8. I'm still having that. And yet I have some toys if I need them, because sometimes I travel through 4 or 5 airports in a week, or whole conferences with sometimes hundreds or thousands of people. It can be soliciting my work. And I like the toys that humans have invented, but I'm not going to use them as crutches ever. And whenever I want to get back into my true state, I drop everything and I just use this. So I know that everybody at this point is meant to evolve, is meant to evolve.
I think Cristiana will be joining in next 2 minutes. She just dropped off.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think she lost her connection. Will be joining back in next 2 minutes.
Yeah, probably. First, I figured she kicked me out, actually. And the whole purpose of mentioning technology was not to use it for myself as a crutch, was to be able to give to others the benefits of my knowledge, of what I understood and gathered throughout time. It takes an eternity to change somebody's mind. It takes a second to change their body. So if they see the benefit, they can change their own minds by being curious. The whole thing of technology is not to be used and meant to be used as a crutch. The idea of technology is to share. The whole thing we're doing, we're sharing information based on technology, the same thing we can do with people and help them.
Right.
What is the purpose of this group and gathering in the end?
Yeah. So meanwhile, you can go ahead and subscribe to YouTube Pyramid Times. Hope you have checked Christiana's channel as well. There are a lot of information content on breatharianism. And now we have with us Christiana back again.
I'm back. For some reason, it just went off completely. Please start my video because it says I can't start it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you know, my system is so well regulated nowadays that when I get into a situation that is just slightly disharmonious, it just disappears from my field. That's how it happens. So yeah, I feel it's time to complete. However, I promised an hour and we did 2. It happens sometimes that we do like this because it's really the field is as it is and the information just flows. I want to make 2 announcements that are really, really important, I believe. We start a class of pranic consciousness and pranic nourishment and aligning to the universal field on January 22nd, 2 days from now, right? You can subscribe to this class at the link that I placed in the chat box. I hope that's still available for the panelists. To me, it disappeared. My website is soulhealingacademy.com/events, soulhealingacademy.com/events. That's where you find all the events and you find the Pranic Process Online. This class in 8 days of training, webinars each evening, my evening in Bucharest is 7 or 8 p.m. That you can join from the comfort of your home and meet us every evening and have meditations with us. And I describe all these tools to keep ourselves in balance, upgrade our vibration, our immunity, our lives, our relationships, our careers, our abundance with prana. So we're not talking about how not to eat, because that's for some people is obsolete. We're talking about how to get in a higher state of consciousness and stay there, in a higher state of vibration and stay there. And I invite people who are interested in that to join us. It's going to also be a tantra class about prana, intimacy, and kundalini, about relationships. At the end of this 8 days, we're going to have it on the 31st of January. So that's also available. That's talking more about sexuality and relationship sharing and how these can be harmonized with energy awareness, right? That's also a link that you have in the comments. And last but not least, we have the Pranic Festival in India. So in India, at the beginning of March, like really, really soon, we're having this Pranic Festival of 5 days where you can actually meet directly the people who are nourished by light, the people who don't need physical food, people who don't need to eat, the yogis, the sages, the mundane people like you and me that have overcome their need for physical food into to such high degree that they are now nourished by prana. So you can meet them, you can chat with them, you can access to their conferences. We're having a beautiful trip after, which is called the Trip of the Sun. Also in India, very important energy places. I call them cosmoports because they're really, really built by, you know, or at least supported by civilizations that aren't on this planet. So really, really advanced energy places. To have a really, really great time together. So as we always have in the Pranic festivals in general. So looking forward to meeting you in person or to meeting you in one of our classes, hopefully 2 days from now at the Pranic Process Online. And write to me if there's any other questions or things that you want to bring up. You can find me on Facebook with the name of Cristiana Eltrayan. You can find me on Instagram with the name of Eltrayan. You can find me on YouTube with the same name, Cristiana Eltrayan. And all my contact data of how you can reach me and ask questions or, you know, tell me if you want to be in our events. My contact data is here in the chat box. I just placed it now so that you can join me and contact for any inquiries that you might have about our events or about the Pranic path or anything like this. I also do Pranic sessions, one-on-one, healing sessions that are really, really deep and powerful and intuitive. They're called soul healing sessions. And also Pranic processes one-on-one, you know, for the people that want to go deeper, heal any traumatic aspects, any remove any blockages from their lives and from their, you know, the pranic flow. We do these one-on-one sessions for 7 days, 7 times, where we really go deep and dive deep into the healing and unfolding and upgrading your system. So that's my work now, and that's where you can and how you can meet. Hoping that this webinar has been useful and nourishing for you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes. Many things can be useful for your immune system, but especially when you tap into the pranic flow. That's the best thing, and that's available at no price, and it's beautiful. We're actually having immune system enhancing meditation each evening during the pranic process. That's how some people have been actually healed from the virus in 4 days while they have been with us in this process. I'm not saying that we're here to heal the virus, we're just saying that some have healed. So, yeah.
It's great to know the wonderful benefits that you have offered to the audience today. And it's a very nice program. 2 hours, it went very seamlessly. Lot of questions, interesting discussions on mitochondria, importance of water. It's phenomenal. And of course, the world is going towards free energy and how to use that energy that is available everywhere. And this is an eye-opener for all of us who are new to this system. Thank you, Cristiana.
Thank you, Veena. Much love to you. You're doing a wonderful work. Thank you for making this available for people, and hope to collaborate with you.
Yeah, sure, definitely. We are going to take it forward. And do subscribe to Pyramid Times and also Cristiana's channel. It's all available on YouTube. And do visit her website, soulhealingacademy.com. There are events and a lot of free information on pranic nourishment festivals and a lot of other stuff is there, blogs and articles. Please do refer to them. Yeah.
Big hugs to all. Thank you, Pyramid Times. Thank you for the audience and everyone who's here. And looking forward to see you 2 days from now at the Pranic Process Online, the training that we begin together. Much love to all. See you soon.
Yes, thank you all the audience, whoever has joined today for taking your time 2 hours on a weekday. It's awesome and I appreciate. Yes, thank you so much. See you all in the next webinar. You can watch out for the next webinars on Pyramid Times page, Facebook page. Thank you. Thank you, Cristiana.